My neighbor, Miss Jane, who passed away at 96, lived long enough that she had worked in the White House and met FDR, and she worked under segregation. Josh Alexander, I'm from Falls Church, Virginia. I planned originally to be a teacher and got sucked into the 2000s tech boom. Did a tech startup for a while and ended up finding the restaurant business a better fit for my personality. America is a very, very complex thing. It's a great place. I love it. See it as a big family, but like any family, we have our issues. We have our crazy aunts and uncles, and we have our family trauma. I think it is the greatest place with the most opportunity on earth. But we got to take care of each other and look out for each other, because it's still very difficult and people can fall through the cracks. My father passed when I was younger, teenager. We were left sort of in a lurch. It was a very difficult time for the family, and it really cemented my view of creating community. We did not have that, and it led to a lot of difficult times. So I've tried as hard as I can to build community around myself and in where I live, so that my daughter has better support system than we did. It's been great for me. I think I grew up at a lucky time. You know, it was past a lot of things. You know, a lot of other people paved the way for my friends and I. We were kids in the 80s and 90s, and at that juncture where I lived, and the people that I lived with and around were all in all pretty happy. Not everybody, obviously, but in general, it was a happy upbringing. I try to mimic that and recreate that in today's society, on a small scale. I think you can affect your neighborhood and your neighbors a lot, and so I have volunteered as much as I can. Started my own businesses, worked for other small businesses, donated, whatever we need to do, looked in on neighbors to make the community a better place. I believe that people need to look out for their neighbors. I've noticed a lot of people do not. And in this area, I know it's very transient, and I do have some neighbors that kind of ignore each other. They find it odd that we honk and wave and chat in the driveway, but that's how I grew up, and that's how you look in on your neighbor to make sure that they're okay. Collectively, in my small street, we all chipped in to take care of a 90-plus-year-old woman so that she could stay in her own home. She didn't have to go to a nursing home. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. She got to stay until 96 and got to pass in her own home peacefully. And I'm pretty proud of my little neighborhood for that. I would say same word for both: communication. People talking, and especially face-to-face. The internet stuff, you know, people are arguing with strangers online, and a lot of them are arguing with bots. They're arguing with a computer that's set up to make them more angry. I've been in situations where neighbors and community members were at odds, but when you get face to face and discuss something rationally, I've seen a lot of people change their mind just by going, I never really thought of it from that point of view. So I think communication is key, and communication is also the problem. You can spew things online and whatnot. You get an echo chamber from people that agree with you, or robots that agree with you, and then you get the other people get incited and say nasty stuff, when really it should be a civil conversation where you sit down and talk to people and say, well, this is my life experience, this is my point of view, and this is how I arrived at this. What's your experience? What's your point of view? And why do you feel that way? And it's a much better way to get to know each other and agree to disagree on certain things. And I have seen people change, like, paradigm shifts in their minds just by talking, but never by watching the news or talk radio or any of that podcasts. It seems to be more like echo chambers. I think real communication is what it takes. The new generation, my daughter's 11. I watch her with her friends and how she acts and how she treats people, and it gives me hope, seeing how kind they can be before the world gets their paws on them. And my family and I do our darndest to keep it that way. Make sure that she keeps kindness in her heart and open mind and lifts the downtrodden and ignores the naysayers. I'd like to see more community, understanding that some people might not agree with you, but giving more of yourself. People giving more and asking less. Giving more time. The old clubs that used to be a part of all the communities, the Rotaries and things like that, are all populated with much older generations now. I had friends, that had me join theirs, different committees and whatnot, and it really opened up my mind and opened up my friend group, opened up my support network, and grew it in a wonderful way. I think, in 250 years, I'd love to see everybody volunteering in their community, and having the ability to do so. That they're not saddled with a massive amount of debt from school, so that they're struggling to pay their bills. I like to see a reasonable housing market where a younger person, doesn't look at the idea of owning a home or a condo as impossible. I like them to be able to have a job where they didn't have to kill themselves to make a living. And I do have hope, because I've seen the world in my lifetime, and how far we've come. We have come very far, as difficult as this country is. My neighbor, Miss Jane, who passed away at 96, lived long enough that she had worked in the White House and met FDR, and she worked under segregation. She lived long enough so that on her 90th birthday, she got a hand-signed letter from Barack Obama, the sitting president. In her lifetime, she went from segregation to getting a letter from the first Black president. That's about 100 years. We can keep doing that, doing it better. That's what I hope to see in 100 years, another 250 years. History, all of it, good, bad, and ugly, needs to be preserved. It needs to be preserved in our libraries and accessible. I do not like getting rid of books. That's a big thing for me. They need to be available. I don't like censorship. Yes, there are appropriate things and inappropriate things for minors and whatnot, but everyone needs to be able to go back and see what it really was like. Luckily, we have, the photography. The first 250 years, a lot of that was just writing. But now we have photography, recordings, everything. So we need to be saving all of that. I wanted to be a history teacher, by the way. saving all of that so that we can look back and learn and see the mistakes we made and try not to make them again. I would like the elderly to be in communication with the very young, um, to have that tie. My daughter got to read Miss Jane her last story. And so my daughter feels a tie to the history because she literally, was babysat by a lady who knew FDR. So it seems more tangible, and maybe they'll go back and read and they'll learn and understand that they're part of a ongoing experiment that they are a part of, and their experience matters. So the children are very, I guess, ideally the most important in my viewpoint for that. But it's them being able to bring in other people's experiences, and I want to hear what they want and their fears and what we've done. I remember when I was a kid and the boomers, ran everything and the greatest generation, and then it comes to us and we go, okay, now we're just doing this and we're working, but what can we do better for our kids that we didn't have when we were their age? So yeah, I guess I'll put it. I'd like to hear more from the children, because they're going to be the ones carrying the torch.